Hey up YouTube, welcome back and welcome into Subnautica, which in my opinion is arguably the best underwater survival crafting game out there at the moment. Not only is it pretty, but it has good progression and does have something for everyone, unless of course you're a hardcore PvP fan. There is no PvP, this is solo only. But it does make for an absolutely superb experience, well worth playing for. What we're going to do is have a look today at a quick start guide for new players. So basically getting started from the crash to building your first bit of base. We have already crashed. I've fast forwarded that bit so you can experience that for yourselves when you come down, and we are currently in the survival pod. We'll take a look around over the next half an hour, 40 minutes or so and get us started. Don't forget, if you do like this video, please like it. If you don't. But if you could drop a subscription on the channel, that would be amazing. And if you could turn notifications on as well, that would be even better. Appreciate you. Thank you. So without further ado, let's take a look about. You can see there is a little bit of smoke here. We have actually already put out the fire, which was on board when we landed. We do have a little bit of storage in here, which we will take our items. The food and water. The nutrient block is the highest food on the game, in the game should I say. There are plenty of other options though, same as the water. The filtered water is the lowest of the waters. In here there are two other options, which we'll come to a bit later on. We have the main feature, which is the fabricator. This is one of the main items in the game. You will use this all the time, from creating basic stuff to stuff that is more advanced. We also have in here the medical kit fabricator, which auto generates med packs, and then once you take it out it will restart itself. We do have a radio as well. This and the fabricator over here are all buildable within the game, and they can be put into your base. You don't have to rely on this pod all the time. The radio gives us hints and tips as we're going along. It is a useful bit of kit. Also gives a wealth of other information as well. So what we're going to do before we go out and explore, we'll have a quick look at the inventory. Here's our inventory. This is not expandable. There's no backpacks or anything along those lines. So once you're full, you are full. There are obviously other storage lockers and the likes in the game, so you don't have to worry particularly about that. And the vehicles that you will be crafting do have storage options as well. The blueprints, this will expand as we're going along, but the start of the game, these are the items that we can craft, ranging from the titanium, and believe me, this is one of the most used items in the game. Never underestimate how much you actually have of that, through to a few of the electronics required for building some of the necessary tools in the game. Some personal equipment, personal tools. We have a couple of machines, the Sea Glide, the mobile vehicle bay, and a couple of floating storage options as well. Usually at least one or two of these are crafted whilst you're still in this pod. They are floatable as well, so they do sit outside. And then we have the habitat base building areas as well, including the exterior modules which are used to power the base. As mentioned as well, the interior modules. We've got the fabricator, the radio. We've got a couple of lockers, and we do have an aquarium. The aquarium, by the way, is just for show, but you can put the fish in it, believe it or not. And we do have some signs as well for those that are very well organized. I think I've used them once. The beacon manager. This will show your beacons that you can craft within the game. I suggest going heavy on the beacons. because you will find things, with there being no map in here, you will find areas that you'll want to mark, and getting back to them can be quite tricky, especially in the beginning where you don't have the compass. So other life pods that have crashed as well will show up in here, as well as any other habitats and areas that you discover as you're going along. The radio, once the messages come through, will automatically pop stuff in here, so it's definitely worth checking back every now and then. I do also suggest taking advantage of the colour changes. Blue in the ocean isn't the easiest of things to see, so any of the brighter colours are absolutely perfect. The photo manager in here, press 11 for screenshots. That is for later in the game, primarily towards the end of the game, but you can take photos as you're going along, and they can be used at the end of the game, which you'll see. The log, as you'll see as well, that will be populated. The log is basically a recording of all the items that you hear within the game, from narration to the radio communications as well. And the data bank, which holds all your blueprints and various other bits of information as well. That will give all the details for the flora and fauna that you find throughout the game. Okay, the fabricator. The fabricator is where you craft everything. There are additional fabricator style builds within the game, but therefore either upgrades or specific vehicle items that you need to craft. But this is the main one. This will give our basic needs, including the copper wire, the battery, wiring kits, the foods, the waters, the personal equipment as well, and some of the personal deployables that you can get. The Sea Glide, incidentally, is a great bit of kit. So before we get started, I think what we'll do is we'll pop outside and have a look and give you an idea of the area. I'll let her talk as well.
The Aurora suffered orbital hull failure. Cause unknown. 0 human life signs detected.
So the Aurora is the spaceship that we were in, and we've crashed down. Just for a reference point, you can see that little coral tube poking out there. That, in a lot of YouTube videos, when they're directing you to a certain area, they will use as the reference point, as the center point. It just makes it easier when you're trying to follow, especially as you've noticed where it says 0 meters at the top of the screen. We don't yet have a compass. So first thing we will do is we will go back in, and we currently have 4502. This is our health stats, food, and our water as well. The water does go down quite rapidly, as does the food. Health wise, you're pretty good. Most of the mobs in here, most of the creatures in here, don't do like 100% damage. There's nothing that will kill you outright from 100. However, you know, if there's a few in the area and they are nibbling away at you, you will quickly lose health and can die. I think, to be honest, one of the biggest killers in here is running out of air when you are in a cave system. So what we'll do to make our life easier is we will make the standard tank, and we will make some fins as well. We'll go through what is required for that in a moment. To make life a little easier as well, if you come back down into your inventory, we can pin these items. So we have them up here, and it will show you what we actually need. Creating the tank will give us a bit more O2, and the fins obviously will give us a bit more speed when we're trying to get around the map and, of course, back up to the surface. We also need a scanner, the repair tool, flashlight, survival knife, and a habitat builder. We'll go through all these as we're doing them. So we will pin these as well. does make it look a little bit cluttered on that right hand side, but as we're going through them we can take them back off again, and it's just a quick reference so we don't have to keep going in and out of the inventory. So first off, I think what I'll do, go back to our inventory, I'll take a little bit of food and I will have some water. I think we'll start with the food and water. We'll do some very basic. As you can see, there is night and day cycles in this. The night doesn't last overly long and is quite well lit up in the safe shallows, which is the area that you spawn in. Obviously, the deeper you go later in the game, the more, the darker it actually becomes. So what we're looking for to start off with for basic foods and waters is fish. Stay away from these big boys. They don't bite you or anything, but their gas can do some damage. You can incidentally use them as part of a weapon later. So what we're looking for is these bladderfish. We'll grab a couple.
May have unexpected applications. Utilizing alien resources is a proven survival strategy.
There are little tips within the game as well that you can see. You did see there was break node, break limestone. I'll show you that as we progress. But first off, we'll just make sure we've got enough food and water. These are made on the fabricator, as is pretty much, you know, 90% of everything. So once you have the fish, we'll come up to our knife and fork, which is the sustenance, and you'll notice we have the two choices. We have the water and the cooked food. There is also a cured food as well, and if we look on that, that does actually require salt, which is a bit further down, so we'll go for that afterwards. Just a word of warning, the cooked food does degrade in this, whereas the cured food lasts a lot longer. In fact, I don't think it ever degrades. So cook food, if you're starving to death, get it done. You can cook it there and then and pretty much eat it within 5 minutes or so. The cured food you can keep in your inventory for as long as you want. So the bladderfish will give us the filtered water. That'll give us 20 water replenishment. We'll actually just use a couple of these, and then the third one we will just make a cooked fish. That's all that's required. That is all. They automatically go into your inventory. We will take another water just to keep it topped up, but the cooked fish there has a little green bar on the right hand side. That will slowly go down as the fish degrades and becomes rotten. Okay, so the first thing on the list, I think what we'll do is go down and we'll sort the tank and we'll sort the fins out. We need that little bit of extra. What we're looking for is the yellow. If you head away from the Aurora, you will see these yellow, big tall yellow plants. Well, they're green plants, but with a yellow.
Trend is consistent with damage to the Aurora's drive core sustained during planet fall.
Whilst we're got the low O2 capabilities, it is probably best just to swim on the surface for a little while. Don't forget, the deeper you go as well, the longer it does take to get back up. So we'll pick a couple of these. There we go. And we'll head back up. And I'll show you the inventory.
Life
so
on
with
this planet grows in unusually distinct
maybe I
and
should have
diverse
turned her
ecological
off.
biomes. Further study recommended.
Okay, these are quite big, the creepvine seed clusters, but once they are close by, so you can go straight back to the fabricator and craft whatever you need. Keeping an eye out for any salvage or wrecks that you can see. These are other crashed vehicles and can yield some pretty good stuff, which will help you progress nicely, as well as scrap metal, which is called salvage, I think. I've always called it scrap, I don't know why. if I can see any down here. No, as it turns out. We will go down and investigate this in a moment.
Scans suggest this biome supports extensive biodiversity and connects to a number of small cave networks.
So she does give you tips all the way through. You can, I think you can turn these off, but they are pretty useful if you're the first time player. Okay, I'm actually looking for... Ah, there's some. We'll go and grab some scrap as well. So this is our home for the foreseeable future. Doesn't take particularly long to get us up and running, which you will see. So we'll go down, we'll pick up the scrap, and we'll head back up. The spawn point is random. You will be in this area, you will be by the Aurora, but it is a random selection within a set limits. So it isn't always in the same place, however it will always be in the safe shallows. So you do have access to the same amount of stuff. Onto the fabricator. The scrap metal now, or the metal salvage, for its official name, will allow us to craft titanium, and as mentioned at the beginning, titanium is one of the biggest things in the game to use. You've noticed now we only needed 3 for that. We do actually have 4. It gives 4 titanium per metal salvage, so it is worth doing trips out just to go and get that. It does mean now we can do the standard O2 tank, which takes us up to 75 on the O2, and we now need 2 rubber, which is made by the creepvine clusters. With the creepvine you can also make lubricant as well, which is used for a lot of the vehicles in the game. So we'll craft a couple of those, and we'll also do some lubricant as well.
Lubricant is essential in construction of vehicles and power plants.
There we go. And because we've got those, this will have updated our personal items list down below. And we can do the fins as well.
New blueprint acquired. The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Once you have crafted certain items, the equipment items, they do automatically go in, unless of course you've already got something in there. Then it will sit in your inventory until you swap it over. You can take these in and out as required as well. You'll have also noticed that when we crafted that, we got the ability to craft a high capacity O2 tank, which is the next stage on. We've created the standard one. The high capacity is again slightly higher. I think it goes up to 135, something along those lines. So it is a good chunk higher again, almost double. It does require the standard O2 tank, so you have to take that off your equipment and pop it in your inventory. It needs glass, titanium and silver ore, all of which are easily findable. We can now craft a knife as well. We might as well do that, and we can take that off our list.
Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Abraxas Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
What we'll do is take those off our list now. So we've already narrowed down some of the items. The next item I really would suggest doing is probably the scanner. The scanner is possibly the most used thing in the game, other than the repair tool, which, if you're anything like me, you'll end up using the repair tool quite a lot. But the scanner is a fantastic bit of equipment. It is used for scanning virtually everything in this game. That then, once scanned, wrong one, once scanned, it will go into your databank under various items. Some of the scans will give blueprints in how to build something. Some will just give information about either the flora, the fauna, or anything else that you have scanned. We'll show that as we go along. As also mentioned, the voice log as well. You can replay any of these. These are the actual words, so replaying them just reads out what's on screen. You'll notice as well the cooked bladderfish has gone down in how much energy or how much food and water it gives you. So I'll take that now. It has degraded our water slightly, but I'd rather that than it go off. So scanner, we need more titanium. We do have the fins now, and we have the extra O2, and this is what it looks like in the daytime. Incredibly pretty game. So we'll look for plenty of scrap as we're going along. Just bearing in mind, as mentioned, a lot of the mobs in here, or the creatures in here, won't actually kill you, but they will take a chunk of health from you. So it's something to just watch out for. You'll notice as well that there are nodes everywhere. Some are limestone.
Is an essential component of all powered equipment. Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
Some of the nodes contain basic equipment, basic materials like titanium, copper. Some then have gold, silver. Some have lead in them as well. They're all valuable. They're all used, just slightly in different quantities. So titanium, as I mentioned, I will keep mentioning that as well. You're going to get bored of it. But titanium is the item that you really do need the most of. So we'll pick up plenty of that. We're keeping an eye out for any of the nodes as well. The pointers that you notice telling you to break things don't stay for very long. We found a little cave system. One thing to get used to very early is keeping an eye on your O2. Once you're in a cave system, it is easy to get lost. There is a tool later on for finding your way in and out of caves. Breaking the limestone, you don't actually need anything at all. You just left click, hit it, and left click again to select it. The quartz grows on the sides. It's not kept in nodes. But there are, later in the game, there are huge great nodes of this that are scattered around the map. You will need something to actually smash those. You can't do those by hand. That is an attachment for one of the later vehicles. So actually, we'll just see if there's anything else in that cave. I want to show you, there's one. These little bad boys, yikes! Those little bad boys are crash fish, which I absolutely love, but they will take health off you. However, when they've released from their little pod, they will yield cave sulfur, which again is another material that we do actually need. Okay, we'll just head back up and make sure. You do get a warning with the O2. I think it's at 30 with a bigger tank. Nope, it's not. Not at 30. You do get a warning with the O2, but of course if you're down deep, then you are not going to get back up in time. So definitely keep an eye on that. Okay, what we're going to do is head back up. And we're going to convert some of that scrap into titanium. You'll notice as well the glass has popped up. So the quartz, as we're collecting it, you can craft that into glass. We'll just make all the titanium first. It's a really nice feeling when you start mounting up the amount of titanium that you've got. Okay, and what we'll do is, because the torch requires a glass, we will just craft one of those into glass as well. Okay, so what we need now is a battery, so we can craft the scanner. The battery requires copper, which we get from the nodes that we were smashing. I think, well, we have already got one. I don't know how many we've actually got. Without looking at my inventory, we got 3. Okay, and we need with the battery, we need 2 acid mushrooms and just the 1 copper core. We do have the other 2 items as well that require batteries. So we have 3 copper ores, which is absolutely brilliant. So we'll go down and we'll try and find 6 mushrooms. The acid mushrooms are literally everywhere. You shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. These are plantable as well. 3, 4, 5. The inventory's full. Whoops. I should have emptied up before I came down. I suggest taking use of the storage within there just to start with. Get rid of some of this. It's not very big, but as I mentioned, you can craft the deployable storage as well, which you can pop underneath the survival pod. So we'll grab those. There is something else down there which we'll grab in a minute. I will show you that as we go along. Okay, so the electronics area has opened up now. For the copper wire, we need to find 2 copper ore. But at the moment, we're not going to do that. We do need the copper wire for creating a computer chip for the habitat builder, but we'll stick to using the copper at the moment for creating the 3 batteries that we do need. You'll notice, because we've crafted it now, as with the standard O2 tank, another item has arrived. Because we've got a battery, we can now make a power cell, and making that battery has granted us that blueprint. The power cell is used for vehicles, so we don't quite need that just yet. We'll leave that. Don't waste your batteries at the moment. We've got the 3 batteries now. Means we can make the scanner. We can also make the repair tool. We can also make the torch, and then we'll go into making the habitat builder in a moment. So down into the personal tools, we'll create the scanner.
The scanner can be used to synthesize blueprints from salvage technology and to record alien biological data.
There we go. Oh, wrong one. We'll craft the repair tool. And we will also craft a torch. Torches are needed in the game, but mainly for the deeper areas and some of the cave systems. When you're up here in the daylight, you don't need it at all. It's pretty good. Whilst we're here, the repair tool is useful for repairing any damage you've got. That's both for electronics, if you found them in any ships or anything, like the Aurora when we go over there. But also for repairing vehicles as well. Banging into things, hitting fish, getting it... Well, I won't say what else damages the vessels. But this is an essential repair kit, making sure the battery's always brand new for that one. So once you've got the repair tool in your hands, pointing it at the broken object and right clicking will start to repair it. Nice and simple.
LifePod secondary systems online, running full environment diagnostic and outputting results to databank.
Okay, and you can see the radio is in need of repair as well. So what we have now is a flashing light.
Radio online. Broadcasting emergency distress signal.
This will go off quite a lot during the first... well, it'll go off quite a lot throughout the whole game, but they are all useful information.
This is Aurora. Distress signal received. Rescue operation will be dispatched to your location in 9, 9, 9, 9, 9 Hours. Continue to monitor for emergency transmissions from other life pods.
There we go. That has updated our log as well, our voice log, as well as the narration that has been going on since we've started. As mentioned as well, the data bank has contained some of the information. When we started this off, it's done an environment scan. That has been put in there. You can read all of this at your leisure. The blueprints, as I've mentioned before, do go through and give you various information. These will get updated as and when you scan items. Anything new that you can craft, any items, will also appear in your main blueprints. If they're craftable on the fabrication, they will automatically show up on there as well. So all this chatting makes me hungry, so I think for the moment we'll leave the block, but we will go and just take a little bit of water. We'll probably go down and get a bit more fish while we're there. The tools that you have are down on the hotbar, or can be placed on the hotbar. All you need to do for those is hover over them and press the required number that you want them on. There you go. Or you can actually drag them down if you prefer to do it that way. So this storage is actually nearly full. We can take the scanner off. We'll go back to the blueprints. Have a look. We'll take the scanner off, we can take the repair tool off, and we can take the flashlight, leaving us only the habitat builder to do. Now, in here, you'll notice that if we go onto the fabricator, it's easier to see. Sometimes we have to, like we did with the battery, we have to craft something in order to craft something else. In this case, the computer chip and the wiring kit. The wiring kit is 2 silver ore. These again can be got from nodes like we found earlier, including those ones had titanium and copper in, but as mentioned, you get lead, gold, and a whole wealth of other materials from the nodes. So keeping an eye out for those and just topping up as we go along. And the computer chip as well requires table coral, gold, and copper wire. Copper wire was 2 copper nodes. So we'll go down and we'll try and find some. We're going to have an investigate, a run around, and see what we can find using the scanner. So when we approach something that we've never scanned before, we will get the scan message both on screen, and it pops in the right hand corner there at the bottom. Everything can, well, I say everything, virtually everything can be scanned. I don't know why that's not doing it. Once you've scanned something, if it's flora or fauna, it doesn't show up again. But if it is a piece of equipment or a piece of blueprint, it will show up again. And if you've already got it, there's no hardship in scanning it again, because it gives you 2 titanium instead. Once we've scanned that, it does go into the data bank and will show us about the coral shell plate, and it will show us about the acid mushrooms as well. Those are the 2 that we did do. So if we pop the torch on, give us a bit more of an idea of what we're looking for. So here is the table coral. This is needed to craft the computer chip. You do need the knife for this. So just a right hand slash with the knife will take some of those, and then a left click just to pick them up again. It's actually quite well used as a table coral, so getting a little bit more than you need isn't too bad at all. And then we'll go down and we will hunt for some more nodes. As mentioned, this place is absolutely beautiful. This game, really well drawn, very enjoyable. Let's have a look at this one.
Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation. Continuing to monitor.
Giant coral tubes are a requirement for some items to be crafted as well. Namely, the next water which we will try and go through. Come here, come here, come here, come here. I just need grab a couple of the bladder fish, and we'll make some more water. We do have that nutrient block. Some of the fish are better than others. Higher in nutrients. If you, oh, I need to go up, I need to go up, I need to go up, I need to go up. So I did catch this other fish here. You'll notice that is +8 and -3, so it does actually take water off you. This one is +6 and -4. The stats obviously change once you've either cooked them or cured them as well. But I tend to stick to bladderfish, and there's a fish called a Reginald later in the game, which is good food, really good food. So it's worth looking out for as well. I will drop the boomerang back in. He is alive. He will swim up. Okay, so let's dive back down. Keep looking for the nodes that we need. The nodes are always attached to the side cliffs. They're usually quite easy to spot. I'll probably go and have a look in this big cave actually. There we go, some more up there. Try and pick up as much as you possibly can as you're diving. The inventory does fill up quite quickly, depending on what you're...
Detecting sulfur deposits in the local cave systems. Sulfur is an essential component of the repair tool.
So, always keeping an eye on your O2. Trust me, it does run out very quickly. You don't expect it to. Okay, we'll dive back down, we'll go out and we'll go through onto the other end. Just trying to avoid this dude here. There are various creature eggs throughout the game as well. I'll let you discover what they are and what they do. Oh, no. Let me just turn my torch on so we can actually see what we're going for. The different shapes.
A common complication for cave divers is loss of orientation, followed by eventual asphyxiation. Silver-based wiring kits are an essential component of many habitat modules.
You'll start to recognise the shape of the nodules as you're going along. The rounder ones tend to yield silver, gold and lead, whereas the other shape, the rougher edges ones, are normally titanium, copper and just titanium and copper, I think. I will pick up this scrap while we're here as well. We'll pick up that. I don't think we've got enough at the moment to... Is that all from this cave? There we go. Looks like it is. That was pretty rubbish. I was hoping for... we've got everything in a one dive there, but obviously not. Spacebar will take you up a little bit quicker. Let me just have a quick look on that one. That is yellow. Okay, so what do we actually manage to pick up there? We got 1 gold and we got 1 silver. How much space have we got? We are running out of space. So I'll come up and I'll craft one of the deployables so we can see that. I suggest leaving the torch off when you don't need it. It is a bit of a battery hog. So you do have to be a little bit careful with it. We only picked up the 1 scrap there, didn't we? We do need the copper wire in this instance, so we will craft the copper wire from the 2. There we go, and that does it, because we got the table coral, that does allow us to do the chip as well. Now we just need to find the 1 extra silver.
Blueprint acquired.
Okay, so let's go into our deployables and we'll do a waterproof locker as well. Oh, the advanced wiring kit popped up, which is why. Okay, with with the waterproof locker, it'll be in your inventory. Just right click it and it will drop down. You can name these. If you come end onto it, you can pack it back up again and put it in your inventory, or you can just open these up. So what I'll do, I'll pop some of those in there. We need to make a little bit of water. We do have the nutrient block, so that's something to bear in mind. But of course you can use these fish for food as well. I've actually let my food go down because the nutrient block does give a good chunk. I think, what is it, 60 or something, 75. So I always feel like I waste it a little bit if I'm not careful. So we'll take some of the water as well, just to keep us alive. The radio is bleeping there. What we're going to do now is we're going to progress to getting some slightly better water. It does help so you're not up and down all the time. We'll come down and we'll check out this wreck as well while we're on our way there. We'll just make sure the O2 is at its max. When you come down, you will see various items scattered around from the crash sites. These will, let me just go back up and show you. These will start off being able to synthesize the blueprints. There we go, the grav trap. So we have 1 out of 2. Once we find another one and scan that, that will be 2 out of 2 obviously, and it will allow us the blueprint, which means we can craft it ourselves. So back down. I think really if you're going to take something away from this, it is scan everything. Scan as much as you possibly can. Beacon fragments. Beacons are absolutely brilliant in this game, as I mentioned before. We can't actually craft one yet because we need another part. But what we do have is the beacon there, so 1 out of 2 again. Once you drop these beacons, they will show up in this list here. You can rename them as well, so if you found a cave system you want to go back to or a crash site, you can just mark it crash, etc. Again, I would mark these brightly coloured. You can turn them on and off as well, because if you're dropping a lot, they can be quite distracting. And you can get lost with what you're actually looking for. So again, always with the nodes, we're looking for another silver. I can see the grav trap is around. The grav trap is actually for fishing.
New blueprint acquired.
Now I'm going to say something which is either going to be an earworm to you and you'll never unhear it, but I've always heard that as wired rather than acquired. Just me, I don't know if you'll hear that now, but every time it goes off I always say acquired. Sorry, I don't know if that's bad or good. These little storage boxes do contain items as well. Some of them are empty, but it's worth checking them out as we go along. As I mentioned earlier, if you scan an item that you've already got, it will just turn it into titanium, so there's no hardship in scanning it. There we go, we do have the beacon now. They are everywhere. You don't need to scan everything as you're going along. If you have got it, don't feel the need to if you don't want to. But if you do need a couple of titanium, for instance, then it is definitely worth doing. Let me just have a quick check on inventory. Yeah, we're good. Okay, we're still looking for the nodes. And what we're looking for now is some salt. Let's go and have a quick look in this cave system here. This will be titanium. We're looking for the rounder block ones. That will yield either lead, gold, or silver. And it's the silver that we want. That was copper, a bit more quartz. Depending on what you build as well for your base, you may need a lot of glass as well. So picking up the quartz as we're going along, again, is no hardship, providing you have the space. What we're looking for is salt. Salt nodes, salt nodes. There is no map in this game. So there are maps available, which are quite comprehensive and do show you everything. But I do suggest just having a free roam and taking in all the sights. I don't have much of a memory, which is why I use beacons quite a lot. I can show you how to craft those. Okay, I just want to show you this this little beast down here. As mentioned, most of the creatures can't kill you as a one-off, but this stalker here gathers scrap metal. So if you can follow them and find their nest, you can often find quite a bit of scrap by them. And they do have a bite at you, don't get me wrong. If there's 2 or 3 of them around there, they can take your health down quite quickly. So it is something to be wary of. But they do yield the scrap. And they also give you teeth as well, which is needed for some of the build parts later. Okay, I'm just going to go and get a couple more bits of salt if I can. The salt's usually found around these grassy areas. You can see it in the grass as well, but most commonly it's in the sand. They were just, they weren't actually salts. That was a sandfish. That was just quartz that you can see lighting up. Let me just put some... the fish egg. Oh, there's another. Oh, no, it's not the node I want. Always keeping an eye on the O2. We'll just head up.
30 seconds.
All right, all right. We're on our way. We are on our way. We do actually have the salt now, so you can craft salt later in the game. Okay, we got the silver. Please tell me. Yep. Yeah, we did. Perfect. Okay, we'll head back to the life pod now. That's pretty much good for the basics covered. Let me just turn the light off. We don't need it. Quick dive down. Underneath. Perfect. So, the reason for the salt and the coral tube is we can craft bleach now. Bleach is brilliant for doing the...
Bleach is an essential chemical used for cleaning wounds and purifying water.
There we go. This is stage 2 of the water. When you've got the salt as well, you can cure the fish. But in this instance we used it for making the bleach as well. That gives us disinfected water. It's 2 per 1 bleach as well, which is quite nice.
Preparing the day's water ration ahead of time will help ensure against dehydration and eventual death.
I'll let you discover the grav trap, but the beacons, I'm trying to think if we don't need any more copper ore. So what I'll do, I'll quickly craft a beacon and show you those as well before we get into building the a basic base. There we go, all green. That allows us to now build the habitat builder.
The builder, too, is designed to construct habitats capable of withstanding extreme environmental conditions.
Okay, what we will do now, we'll just do a quick base. Obviously, you're free to build pretty much anywhere in this game. In the cave systems, providing obviously you can do the space provided. I'm just going to build a quick base. What I suggest generally starting with is 1 foundation. You don't actually really massively need the foundation, but it does give strength. So it is worth popping at least 1 down to start you off with. We're going to need another lead, so I'm going to have to dive down again and go for some more. The foundations as well make good landing spots for some of the vehicles you can craft later on, as well as some of the outdoor exterior grow beds that you can find for doing the food. Let's have a look. If I just pop a bit of titanium in there, we'll get rid of those for now. We've got titanium, we've got copper. We just need lead. I'm going to have to dive down for some more lead. Let's get rid of these. Acid mushrooms. We'll keep a couple of those. And I'm just going to keep the water on me for now. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. There we go. So we're looking for lead. Back down. Wrong one. Lead is contained in those rounded ones again. I think we've emptied this one up, haven't we? Once you find a cave system or something that you want to discover, you can use the beacon as mentioned. All you need to do is right-hand click.
30 seconds.
Whoopsie. That beacon will pop out. They do default to blue, which is slightly annoying. You can see it there. I think that's the game devs trolling us, if I'm honest. But it will show up in the beacon manager. I suggest turning them to a colour that you can clearly see, both day and night. Orange is quite a good one. So if you approach the big beacon, you can pick them back up again, so they're not wasted. You can also name them. Search here, for instance. Which are just, when you go back up, you'll get the search here mark, and it will be in your beacon inventory as well. Once you're done with it, once you've searched it, or you can just pick it back up. Job is a good one. We're looking for lead. Shame there's no big arrows on this that said lead is here. Again, these can be found in very large nodes, which you will need to drill at a later point. But there is plenty scattered around, so you're not going to go without, certainly for building the basics. If you're going to build some extensive base, then you're going to need to wait a little bit. Or swim around quite a lot. But this game is, as I've mentioned numerous times, it is incredibly pretty and very much worth exploring. So we're looking for the little rounded nodes. Let me just go up, get a bit of air, make sure. There is something which will assist in the air. It's called brain coral, and if you find it, you can hover over it and it will refresh your O2 again. It does take a little bit to do. There's nothing. Oh, there is something in there. Mobile vehicle bay fragment, very important, used for building your vehicles. So grab that first part. I'm not going to worry too much about the scrap. In fact, I will, because there's another mobile vehicle bay fragment. All these little storage boxes, they don't all have something in, as we've seen, but it is definitely worth checking them out just to make sure. Especially early game. Okay, back down. There are 4 tanks available in this. O2 tanks. So don't worry, your O2 stats do get much better as you progress. We'll pick up the salt while we're here. Now there's a cave down there which may or may not yield a little bit of lead.
Congratulations, survivor. You have exceeded your weekly exercise quotient by 500%.
Oh no, it's not.
Data
It's not okay.
indicates that swimming was your favorite activity. Be sure to vary your routine for uniform muscle development.
Wasn't a cave. We're struggling with the lead at the moment. Really struggling with the lead. Damn. Sure, we'll find it somewhere. Let me just get back up. I don't want to be dying just yet. See if we can find another cave. Oh, please be lead, please be lead. Yay, we got the lead. Perfect. We'll just build the one platform foundation. So we'll head back to the base now.
Warning. Local radiation readings suggest the Aurora's drive core has reached critical state. Quantum detonation will occur within 2 hours.
Okay, basically the Aurora is going to explode in 2 hours. You can see how much the battery has gone on the torch. It does go down quite quickly. There is a battery charger, obviously, in the game. But until you can craft that. Okay, so once we're back, we can just make the foundation. Gives the strength in the top left as we're going along. Then you can do the all-important tubes, which are basically just titanium. And these are, you can craft these onto each other. And to get in and out, what we need is a hatch. All the ingredients for these can be found on, as you hover over it in the inventory. And also when you've added it, if we just quickly add tube there, it will show as you've done it. You can deconstruct everything. It is one of those games where you get 100% of everything back. So if you have made a mistake or whatever, you can just take it back off. Now, we do have, let me just show you as we go down. That is a start of our base. If we go in...
Emergency power only. Oxygen production offline.
There we go. So at the moment it's not producing any. There is a way to get air in there, but the way I like to do it is straight away with the solar panels. So you pop these on the side of... Whoopsie. I do tend to put them to one side so that they do show the way the wiring goes in them. So it can be a little bit annoying if it passes through your base, especially if you've got more than one, but popping them on the side doesn't allow that to happen. Oh, we've just been... Yeah. That was one of those I can never remember what they're called. Let's have a quick scan of him. But they... Gasopod. You can just swim with them as you're scanning. He's just done it again to me. There we go. As I say, it doesn't take a great deal of health off you, those. And you can use their pods as part of a weapon system later. So, back to the habitat builder. You'll notice it's quartz, titanium and copper to build the solar panels, so we need to go back up. Let me just see. I do have some quartz on me, actually. Oh, clearly I've got everything on me. You'll hear that very satisfying sound of
power restored. All primary
the power coming back on. So we'll take a couple of quartz. Do we have any titanium on us? We do. And we've got a bit of copper as well. Perfect. Let's get back down. Let's pop this other solar panel down. There we go. Once you get inside now,
welcome aboard, Captain.
You'll notice all the lights are on and the power we have available is, well, currently going up. There's 55, 56. But a maximum of 150 units with the solar panels, 75 each. There are different items, different power plants craftable as you're going along. But obviously you have to find the blueprints for those. The last thing really for the getting started is to craft, where the hell? Is to craft a locker. This is much easier than having everything floating about upstairs, outside. You can, I normally go as far as I can to the door, pop them down, and that way you have space for a battery charger or the radio or a med pack crafter if you want to put them there. And again, just use the habitat builder, it'll tell you what to add. To access the lockers, left click, and then just store everything you need in there. That is basically it. That is your getting started from crash landing to building the first part of your base. It is an absolutely amazing game. You can take your time, you can build massive bases, you can try and quick run it if you like as well. But whatever you do, please enjoy it. It is a really, really good game. If you have liked this video, please like it. If you don't. But if you could drop a subscription on if you could drop a subscription on the channel, that'd be ace. And if you can turn notifications on as well, that would be perfect. If you do want me to continue this run, please let me know in the comments. I'll be quite happy to do a full start to finish run. I'm going to pause this so I don't waste a load of food. I'm quite happy to do a full start to finish run if people think that would be something they would watch. If not, don't worry. I hope this has been useful for getting started. Thank you very much for your time. Take it easy, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.